Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
We've got a really fun show for you today. We're leading into the summer, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a travel show today. We've got Neal Greene of Jaboy Productions. We're going to talk about the way that the folks from the family offices travel and network. It's a tremendous show. Neal's a lot of fun whenever we have him on. Hopefully he's got his Guayabera on today. It is full. Oh, I should have worn my Guayabera too. Anyway, first of all, I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry who have been sponsors for well over a decade. Got to see him the other day at Supercar Saturday. I love Larry and Katie and the rest of the team at Warren Henry. Abe, it was great to see them for over a decade sponsoring. Being a part of the Warren Henry family is tremendous. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. But if you get a chance, go up to 151st and Biscayne here in Miami and check them out. And now on with the show. Let's bring on Neal Greene of Jaboy Productions. There he is. Neal, you wearing that Guayabera? Is that what you got on there?
I'm wearing my version of it. It's a linen shirt. It's as close as I could get, but I am drinking a little Cubita from Havana in my Cuban cup here right now. So,
look at you, Mr. Cafecito himself. I think during the break I'm going to have to go get one just so I can keep up with you, Neal.
Absolutely. It's got me up and ready to roll. So let's go from here.
All right, well, let's start with tell us a little bit about Jaboy Productions, the overall environment, and then we'll go into your upcoming trip to Havana and some of the other stuff that you've got coming up. I read through the itinerary. It looks really exciting. But let's first of all talk about the concept behind Jaboy and how it's not just a place for family offices, but it's really a safe space for high net worth people to meet each other and have great experiences.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the opportunity. So Jaboy Productions was built, more than 10 years ago, on the theme of, I've been to many events being financial services and just kind of felt like a lot of these things were just put together with no real purpose in mind other than bringing people together. And I was thinking about it, if I want to really build a relationship, can you do it amongst the masses, or is it better to be in a room that you have a lot more content and quality people? And I just found that too many of the things I was going through was wasting a lot of time, a lot of energy, traveling here and there, and feeling unfulfilled. So we built the business based upon quality over quantity. And what I mean in that is quality attendees. The attendees that we work with represent registered investment advisors, family offices. We have a lot of professional athletes and other high net worth individuals. And on the other side, we have great sponsors representing everything from real estate, credit, financial services, and insurance or tax planning and everything related to a dollar, I guess you can imagine, right? Investing and protecting that dollar. And that's what's important to us, right? So the philosophy has always been, if you bring great people and great things together, great things are going to happen. And that has been the foundation of Jaboy Productions, and people like to be considered part of the Jaboy family. Our newest hashtag is Jaboy Greatness. We consider everybody that participates in Jaboy part of that greatness and part of that family. And everybody walks away with that. They feel fulfilled. We go to tremendous destinations. Our last conference that we had, which we call the Elite Global Leaders, was in Madrid, Spain. We just did that. We were able to take our attendees not only to one of the greatest, newest, actually just one of the top 100 hotels in the world, the Edition in Madrid, fantastic. We also went to the restaurant, which is in the Guinness Book of World Records as the oldest restaurant in the world, called the Restaurant Bhutan. So to talk about, not only is it a conference where most groups, they bring a bunch of people together, they sit in a room, they hope they're going to meet somebody, and then they go home. We want to incorporate the culture. We want to incorporate the restaurants, the sceneries, whether or not it's an art gallery or a museum, into the conference, especially if you're going to travel. And like I said, you're amongst what we consider the family. So you walk away not only, interacting with existing relationships, but the new relationships you have and you build from these conferences and events are everlasting. I mean, think about it. Going down the road, who's not going to remember 2, 5, 10 years that I went to the best restaurant, one of the oldest in the world, and sat with Jim Freed across the table, and we broke bread and we had whatever it's going to be. So that's kind of the model. And like I said, we continue to proceed and do things that are very, very entrepreneurial, very different. And again, like I said, Madrid, our first conference we did many years ago in Mexico City. We think outside the box now on the location, but again, the way the structure is on the events in themselves.
Well, what I really found interesting is, first of all, I want to thank Wendy Kraft for introducing us. Wendy runs the Fulcrum family office up in New York. We've known each other for many, many years. And when I asked what she thought was a safe place for her friends to go meet each other, she mentioned you and your events. One of the things that I've noticed is there's a bunch of tiers in the family office space. And the most important thing to do is to find an event where you can really go and meet people and interact with other high net worth investors in what I would call a safe environment, away from people who are really pitching you, and really learn new things and share ideas. And that's why Wendy introduced me to you, because that's the type of event that you create.
Correct. And one of the things that we have basically created, which eliminates and creates that safe environment, is what we call Jaboy Verified. So Jaboy Verified is a process in which, if you want to come to our events, we actually want to make sure that you're a true allocator, you're a true family office, or a registered investment advisor that has a certain assets under management minimum, which we require at least 100 million of assets under management. So there's ways that we can verify that. Again, I don't want to go back to it, but it's just about the quality over quantity. And we try to maintain that integrity as best as we can. Because a lot of people out there, unfortunately, take family office word and slang as being something that they can use to get into a lot of events, drink everybody else's food and drinks and beverages and food at these great conferences and events that happen around the world. But we don't want to be that guy. We don't want to be the guy or the provider of the free drink and the free buffet. It's more of the quality behind it. So that's kind of the thought process there.
Now, how many people? I know that you have a very, very strict limit on the number of people that can attend your events. How many people generally go? And then I want to talk specifically about your trip to Havana next, right after, right now.
Yeah. So typically on a conference, we're around 100 attendees. Again, these are what we call Jaboy qualified attendees. They all qualify with $100 million of assets under management. Family offices typically are single family, or if they're multifamily, again, they have that $100 million of assets under management. And we look for brand recognition. We look for, companies that are looking to allocate, and they're not on the sell side, because again, if they are on the sell side, that means they're going to be sponsors. They're going to be paying us to be on our stage, to be in front of those people that have the ability to write a check or to invest in whatever program that those individuals are selling. So we keep the integrity, sell side, buy side. The qualified Jaboy verified attendees are such. And like I said, the sponsors represent best in class, real estate, credit, whatever it's going to be. So it maintains the integrity for everybody that's in the room. You know who's who. And we actually differentiate that by name tags, which are different colors, name tags that have QR codes that identify, who they are and what they do. So we're very transparent, and that transparentness makes it easier for a sponsor to engage with the attendees. And the same thing for with the attendee, to understand that if he's talking to somebody that's selling him something, that he understands that there's a real reason for the both of them to be there, right? Like I said, great people and great things makes great results. That is the combination that sets up for success. Jim, you're on mute.
Well, that's a good thing because I said a dirty word when you said that I was on mute. I did it because they're out there doing a lot of noise, but so I kept it clean here for everybody that's watching too. So Neal, you're going to Havana. A lot of my friends have been to Havana. They've had their individual experiences. What would make this experience different for somebody that's been to Havana or that is looking to go? What makes this trip special?
Yeah, what makes a trip special is this is 100% curated by myself. I am a world traveler, consider myself to be a luxury traveler, and really, I spent 2 times so far in Havana. One was 2 weeks ago, really going through the whole itinerary. Actually, there's very limited amount of hotels that you can stay at that are not on what's called the blacklist, because there's a certain document out there from the U.S. government that says, many of the hotels, I think it's about 98 or 99% of them, are on this blacklist from the U.S. government you cannot stay at. So we wanted to make sure that we were not going to obviously breach anything from that capacity. So we looked at a couple different hotel options, and from there we did our site visits. We stayed at a couple hotels. I stayed at one which was beautiful, but would never go back there, would never do an event there. It was just wrong location, wrong environment. And obviously that's what you get when I get involved. Same thing with some restaurants. We checked out some restaurants. Some of them were great food, but I just did not like the atmosphere. And again, I was like, this is not going to be representative of these high net worth people. Let's change it. Let's find something better and dig deeper into, the best of the best. So that's kind of really where we went with it, and we designed an itinerary. We can go over more of that when we take a break here. But I'd love to share really a little bit more of the meat and potato of this trip to Havana with you.
Well, Neal, that's what we're going to do. You've been reading Mr. Mendoza's mind. Around this time, he usually wants me to take a break. So we're going to take a quick break. Then we'll be back with Neal Greene. We'll talk about the itinerary. We'll talk about the places he's going, why he selected them, and again, the type of experience you'll have on one of Neal's trips. So, Mr. Mendoza, it's time for you to take us all on a trip visually through Miami. Go for it. Oh yeah, that's my hometown of Miami. It's tremendous. I just love living here. It's the most wonderful place in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Wonderful. Also, we're our friends at Warren Henry. For over a decade now, Warren Henry's been a sponsor of the Freedom Business Radio Show and now our podcast. I want to thank. It was great to see Larry and Katie at the most recent Supercar Saturday. Missed on seeing Eric, but and Warren was not there either. But it's great to see them. It's great to be part of the Warren Henry family. Well over a decade now. It's great to be a brand ambassador for the Warren Henry folks, because I'm very proud of my affiliation with them. I have the pride of affiliation with the folks at Warren Henry. And remember, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, Jaguar, and now Lincoln up at 151st and Biscayne. Up in Gainesville, they've got an Audi store up there that's amazing. I send my friends there all the time. They love the service. They love the folks up there. It's a beautiful store up on Main Street. And down in the Keys, well, they've got a store there that sells all the great nameplates. And, of course, they've opened up their new South Dade location for Land Rover and Range Rover also. What do all these cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars. They all come with the Warren Henry advantage. Besides being a member of the Warren Henry family, you get all kinds of great collateral things, such as, of course, free service loaner if you have to leave your car overnight or go do something during the day while it's in service, thanks to my friend Maytel Stark for always keeping our cars in great shape. Then they'll do a whole bunch of different service things for you. I like to use the key replacement. Actually, I don't like to use it. I just have to use it. If you lose those fancy keys, they'll replace them. I always try to park my car close to the curb so I don't get sideswiped. Sometimes I scrape up the rims. They polish up the rims, make sure they're looking great. They'll guarantee that you're getting a great value on your trade-in, that you're getting a great price on your lease or new car purchase. They'll give you 3 days to turn back your car if you don't like it. Nobody ever really does that because they're such tremendous cars. People fall in love and they stay in love. So join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian, lots and lots of my friends and clients. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. That's me taking notes on the next thing I want to ask Neal. But reach out to me. See, I have relationships with folks like Neal in the family office space. Right now, the high net worth investor and the private equity people are the people that are going to keep the real estate industry moving. I have relationships with people from all over the world. They come to invest with me. They ask me my advice. I'm working with them right now on my new real estate, digitized real estate business. My partner Jim is meeting with the folks at our broker dealer right now in New York. We hope next week to be able to announce some really exciting things. Next week will be more family office content with my good friend Tom Handler. And so reach out to me. I have great relationships with a lot of different people, some of whom you may even know, and I introduce folks in a different way. I like to work it as like a Rubik's Cube. So sometimes it only takes 1 or 2 phone calls. But remember, my personal brand is that I self-actualize by helping other people achieve their dreams and goals. I do that by solving their problems and bringing them peace of mind. I do all kinds of real estate capital, debt, equity, investment sales. People just can't stop calling. There's one of the investors right now. One of my hard money lenders is calling me right now. I'll get back to him after the break. But remember, whenever you reach out to me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
Hey, everybody, we're back with more Freed on Business. I want to give a high five again to our friends at Warren Henry. I was at the Supercar Saturday with them at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino on Saturday. Lots of people were there, did my video, and it broke records for me. I got 1,100 views. I haven't checked it since Saturday, but I'm sure it's up some more. It's because I had some great visuals, great posting, great social, and I want to kind of start with that. Let's bring Neal back, and let's talk to Neal for a second about that. So, Neal, where we left off, we were going to talk about the places that the folks were going to go on your trip. Some of the different unique experiences. I mentioned that I got 1,100 views on my YouTube station this week because it was at such a fabulous place. A lot of the people that go on your events, they have social followings. What are some of the Instagram-friendly places that you'll be taking everybody? Let's talk about the trip. Let's start with the hotel. You got a tremendous hotel you're staying at.
Yeah, first of all, we were, as I mentioned, we took a look at a couple different hotels. We chose the Grand Aston La Habana. It is a beautiful hotel right on the Malecon. Malecon is that famous strip that you see in all the movies. You see these nice, beautiful classic cars. They're actually driving across the street from the Malecon, which is the ocean. All the rooms that we chose for our guests will be oceanfront. And, the great thing about this hotel, you would think you're staying in a Ritz-Carlton. It's got all the amenities of club lounge, a beautiful lounge in the lobby. Lobby entrance is very, very private. So all the guests can be escorted to their rooms in a beautiful private elevator, either to the club lounge or right directly to their rooms. And eventually, what we'll have is a welcome reception at the hotel on their patio deck, which overlooks the pool. I mean, think about this, a nice infinity pool overlooking the Malecon, welcome reception. We've got a cigar roller. It's actually one of the cigar rollers from one of the top name cigar factories. I don't need to name names, but we all know the best, which is Cohiba, which will be there rolling cigars for all the attendees as they embark on some Cuban rum and some other exciting things like mojitos as we break bread and start to begin the process of having a great time in Havana.
So after that, it's there's all kinds of. You were saying it yourself, all kinds of different options to go to Havana, but it really takes somebody that knows what's going on to make sure that you have the best experience. Tell me a little bit about the type of dinner that the folks are going to have, and then the next day's events as well.
Sure. Well, let's first of all talk about a little bit of, like you said, to get to Cuba, there's only a certain amount of provisions that you can go on. You can go for family related, you can go for health purposes for a family. If you're going there for research and development, matter of fact, there's a group that I met last time that was there for scuba diving expedition. So there's some unique ways. The way that, or the provision that we're going under is called the support for the Cuban people. That doesn't mean support Cuba. It means supporting the Cuban people. That means eating at their restaurants, going to their art galleries, going to their shows that they've created, and ultimately inspiring a lot of these Cubans, which, as we know, economically have not done so well. So with us being able to go there and experience some of these, historic opportunities is truly a once in a lifetime opportunity for all. And again, talking about the dinners, yes, I looked at a lot of restaurants, and I guess that maybe I was inspired when President Obama was in Cuba many years ago, and then also Madonna was there, Jay-Z, Beyonce were there, and I kind of looked at where did they eat, where did they stay, where did they wind up shopping, and I kind of built a lot of this program around that. So you're kind of getting that VIP presidential experience, as I would say. You're eating at some of those restaurants that Obama and Michelle had eaten at. We're talking about, the first night will be at a restaurant called El Concierto, one of the great restaurants there. The next night we're going to be at a restaurant. It's called, I'm looking over here. Hold on. Where is it? We'll be at, La Guardia. La Guardia, which again is another restaurant which is there, which is a famous spot. And we've got other, restaurants. We're going to be at one of the restaurants for our closing reception at the Mansion de la Castilla, which is, again, it's a mansion. I believe it's 8 bedrooms, just what you would see in Miami, probably a $30 million mansion in Miami. There, untouched, back in the historic days. Somebody that came in from, believe it or not, from Connecticut, bought the property. Him and his family live on the bottom level. He designed it as a private event space for people like us to have a group experience there. And it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just classic mosaic tiles, fountains, art gallery amongst the upstairs level, and a dining experience of, 12 courses of just some of the best culinary experiences you can imagine. With, again, live music, cigar rolling, dancing, and things like that. So we really wanted to make sure that you get a true flair of Havana, not only the best restaurants, but all the best of Havana and all the best that the Cuban people offer. And to me, that's what you're going there for. You're going there, you don't have to worry, which is the best restaurant, which best historic site. We did it all. We planned it all. The agenda from the time you arrived and get picked up by a VIP transportation driving you to that Grand Aston Hotel, all the way through to the time you actually leave, going back to whatever your port of destination is going to be. You have to worry about nothing. And we've actually made it, Jim, one price. And that one price takes care of everything. The only thing that you'll need money for is incidentals, if you want to buy cigars, if you want to buy anything like that, but otherwise you don't have to worry about it. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it the elevated cruise experience, where you just go and you pay and you experience, but we're talking about the highest caliber of attendees, as well as the highest caliber drinks and food experience as well.
Well, before we go any further, Neal, it's obvious that you're a cigar aficionado, and a lot of the folks that I know that like to go or want to go to Havana all want to go and see the show at the Copacabana. Are you going to be taking the folks to the Copacabana and showing them the historic and world famous entertainment there?
The world famous Tropicana is what you're referring to. And yes, we will have an experience to go to the Tropicana. We will take the group VIP front row seats to the Tropicana, and cocktails, mojitos, daiquiris, and such as they enjoy the Tropicana. So absolutely.
Yeah, sorry I got the name wrong, but I'm thinking too much Godfather 1 or Godfather 2. I can't remember which one. So Neal, how do people, Mr. Mendoza, put that flyer back up so Neal can talk about how to get more information on this. And then Neal, I want to talk about some of the upcoming events. We got another couple of minutes left. I want to hear about some of the other stuff. We talked about how you've gone to Europe. Now you're in the Caribbean. What's your next target for experience for folks?
So July 13th through the 16th, we have our next Elite Global Leaders Conference, which will be at the Langham Hotel in Boston. That conference is for family offices, registered investment advisors, professional athletes, and other high net worth individuals. We're also in the midst of designing a next conference, which will be a family conference, which I would like, Jim, obviously you to be there, the family. That's going to be in Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. Going to the world famous, as they call it, the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania. We'll have the opportunity for families to get together right before school starts, and that's going to be in August. So we're working on the dates right now to bring everybody together right before school, and that's kind of in the works. And as we continue, we'll have something in November. The location is TBD. But again, another exciting location is in the works, something either on the East Coast or in the Caribbean. And we continue to press and think out of the box, right? We want to make sure we go to different destinations that people really want to go to, but maybe never really thought how to get there on their own. And we design it, they get on the plane. And like I said, their experience is unlike anything else out there.
Oh, the Hershey, Pennsylvania thing really sounds. I got my little nephews that are, 4 and 3. I mean, I think they'd go crazy. Their mom they'd be covered from head to toe with chocolate, I would think, by the end of that. And, it's all about sharing experiences when you get to a certain level. And a lot of people, really look forward to sharing their experiences with you, Neal. How did you come up with the name Jaboy? What's behind that? I've always got to admit it. I always want to call you Neal Jaboy.
Yeah, exactly. So, I have a son. His name is Jared. And then when I built the company 15 years ago, just looking at, names, we were thinking about everything, elite company, this company, and whatever. And I was like, let's build a legacy. And we created the Jaboy name. I don't know where it came from, a nickname that we used for him when he was a little boy, and just kind of used that. And from there, it's evolved into many different, products that we have in the Jaboy ecosystem. We've got Jaboy Productions, we've got Jaboy Travel, we have Jaboy Capital Markets, and a couple others. So we kind of keep the Jaboy name alive and well, and that's just a brand. And you know what, Jim? It's kind of funny. I go to a lot of these locations, as you know, all around the world, and some different locations, as you know, J is pronounced H in Spanish. So whenever I go to a conference and I check in at the hotel in Havana, or even when I go to Madrid, it's always Jaboy. So how is Jaboy doing? So I always have to look at the different ways they pronounce it. But it is recognized around the world since we are a global player.
That's tremendous. Yo me llamo esta Jaimito. But this is really tremendous, Neal. I want to thank you so much. Love to be part of your team on the capital markets event when you start to plan that. I really do appreciate the brand building experience that you've had here with us today. I look forward to continuing to bring you back on the show to talk about more different experiences. And before we go, I did have another question I want to ask. You got another second here?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to clarify before we get into your question. So this particular event is not a conference. The Jaboy brand was built upon the Elite Global Leaders Conference. This event is what we call a Jaboy experience. And the difference is the Jaboy experience incorporates, as I mentioned, everything is there. The hotel, the food, the beverage, all the other entertainment in one price. It's really built for high net worth individuals that can pay and want to travel with other high net worth individuals. That's the model. On the conference, as you know, it's a little bit different. We provide, if they're qualified, Jaboy verified, the hotel complimentary. We don't pick up airfare, but they have to get themselves there. But it's a different experience. You'll have, as we said, 100 people typically at a conference. This experience is very, very selective. We'll probably have 35 or 40 people. Again, everybody's paying. But think about the difference, right? We see companies out there that just do these travel experiences, and they're hundreds of millions of dollars in revenues a year. And that's kind of what we want to, build on this level. I was with a group yesterday, the Four Seasons invited me to an event, and I sat next to a guy that actually truly inspired me, and I really validated what I'm doing. And he says he does 50 events a year, him and his partner. And they do these events very similar to what I do. And they do them in Napa Valley and Tuscany and stuff like that. But you know what? They only work with landscapers. So think about that. Landscapers, which you would never really think that really like a travel experience. But as he said to me is, a lot of these guys, they don't travel a lot. They have money, they're successful in their business, and they want something that they just pay one price and they don't have to worry about it. And that's just a testament to what we're doing here, just obviously for financial services related. But that business is a great model, and that's why we continue to progress in that.
Well, Neal, again, I want to thank, before I go any further, I want to thank Wendy Kraft for introducing us. I want to thank you for being on board and helping me to become a member of the Jaboy family. I really do appreciate that. So we're going to take a couple minutes. We're going to go on a quick break. We'll come back. I'm going to wrap up the show. And, hopefully we'll be able to chat in the green room for just a couple more minutes. So Mr. Mendoza, take it away. We'll come back. We'll have one more quick thought with Neal, and then we'll wrap the show. Mr. Mendoza, rock the house. So you see what we like to do here on Freedom Business. You like to bring high-end brands together, blend them together, and create incredible content for all of our listeners, viewers, and participants in the Freedom Business family of events and podcasts and radio shows. I want to thank our sponsors for the last decade plus, Warren Henry Automotive, the top end cars here in South Florida. They sell them all. I want to thank Larry, Eric, Warren, Katie, all the folks at Warren Henry. They're so tremendous to us. Maytal makes sure our cars run great. And remember, everybody, if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, Jaguar are now linking up at 151st and Biscayne and Gainesville. They sell gorgeous Audis. And down in the Keys, they've got everything. And don't forget, they've just opened up their place in South Dade for Land Rover and Range Rover. What do all these cars have in common? Well, besides being making you a member of the Warren Henry family for life, they also come with a bunch of incredible benefits, including, of course, a service loaner in case you have to leave your car, go do your work during the day, or perhaps leave it overnight for a couple days. They'll give you a beautiful loaner car, always in top shape, always gorgeous. For me, I lose my keys a lot, so they replace my keys for me for free. They polish up my rims because I scrape them on the curb all the time. They when you're going to do your trade, you want to make sure you're getting the best value for your trade. You'll get it at Warren Henry. They'll guarantee you're getting the best price on your new car or on your lease. They will give you 3 days to return your car if you don't like it. Nobody ever does that. They love their cars. So join me, my beautiful wife, Vivian, lots and lots of my friends and clients. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. We love their experience. You should be a member of the Warren Henry family too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. I love that background music you find, Mr. Mendoza. High five to you for your production value. You're just such a great producer. You always make me look good, my guests good. Thank you so much, Mr. Mendoza, for everything you do. Reach out to me. I'm Jim Freed. I'm the founder of Sandstone Realty Advisors. We're a team of people with probably close to 100 years of real estate experience. Comes in handy at times like this when the real estate markets are shutting down. I've got great new solutions for that issue. We'll talk more about that next week when we have Tom Handler on as well. We do business all across the world. I have clients in New Zealand, Australia. Let's see where else right now. Brazil, Argentina, Europe, Canada. So reach out to me. We're solving problems for people all across the country, all across the world, actually, for their real estate capital needs, their real estate investment sales needs, private lending. We do all those kind of things. I help families get together with each other and do deals in many different ways that they thought that they'd never do business together. Sometimes they know each other. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they think they know each other, but they don't. And I work with them to create relationships that last a lifetime and build legacies and value for all of these families that I do business with, the real estate operating companies, the institutions, the RIAs, all of them. So remember, my personal brand is that I self-actualize by helping other people achieve their dreams and goals. I do that by solving problems for them and bringing them peace of mind. Reach out to me, DM me, call me, email me, all those good things. Why? Because whenever you reach out to me, it's always going to be all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you to Wendy Kraft for introducing me to Neal Greene. Where's Neal? High five, Neal. Oh, man, you're living the life. Traveling the world with all the high net worth people, all the fancy pants. How'd you get into this, Neal?
You know what? I've been a traveler since I was in my teens. I got lucky enough. My family inspired me by sending me on these things called teen tour. I don't know what a teen tour is, but it was just these experiences very similar to what I created, which is, I think I was 13 or 14 years old. My parents dropped me off at the airport in New Jersey. I flew off to Atlanta and took a bus around the United States for a whole month, for the whole summer, which was unbelievable. And then the following year, I was able to do the same thing in Europe. I think I flew from New Jersey. I think the first port of entry was in London, and took a bus from there with other kids of my age, with obviously counselors, and went all over Europe. And just from there, I always said to myself, when I become successful, these are the places I want to go back to. And it's always nice to go back to Italy and France. And these are places I was at when I was a teenager, and just be like, wow, now I'm here. I'm doing it the right way, right? I was back then staying in, the low-end hotels. Now I'm staying at the Ritz-Carltons. But from there, I really was able to get inspired. And that's what I want to do, right? I want to inspire others that want to travel with me. We just got back, like I said, from Porto in Portugal, experiencing, the finest in the world for port wines and Portuguese wines and seafood and the experience over there. We did an event before that in Tuscany. We worked with my great friend Salvatore Ferragamo, which owns a chateau in Tuscany. We wound up taking the whole chateau, 45 rooms. We have over 50 some odd people that joined us with Salvatore going through the winery. So that's kind of what we create. And again, in Havana, I forgot to mention, we'll have some we don't really obviously disclose the attendee list, but two notable speakers that we have, and just a testament to what we have, is one of them is General Anthony Tata. He's the former general for the U.S. Army, number 3 at the Pentagon, will be one of our keynote speakers at this event in Havana. Getting to meet him and getting his guidance on what's happened in the world currently, and also with Cuban-American relations. We'll also have a speaker, Camilo Garcia Lopez Trigo, which is over in Cuba, and he's going to talk about the Cuban economy, past and present. So you're going to get some really good insight along with being at a 5-star experience. So hopefully that adds a little bit more spice to what we already talked about. And again, I know that you put up a piece of paper regarding, how to contact me. info@jaboyproductions.com is the best way if you'd like to receive more detailed on the itinerary, pricing, other questions you may have. Again, it's right there. There's the phone number. There is the email. I urge you to take a screenshot of that. Reach out. We'll be more than happy to give you the best pricing. The Jim Freed special pricing is applicable to anybody who calls between now and Friday. So again, if you heard it on this show, just remind me and you'll get that $1,000 discount based upon the Jim Freed show. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Neal. And Neal, I didn't realize we have something in common. First of all, we're both from Jersey, Englewood Cliffs. And I went on USY and Wheels. So I did my team tour. They flew us up from Miami to New York, and then we went around the country during the bicentennial summer. So it was really cool. So I'm right there with you. It gave me the travel bug too. I want to thank Neal Greene for being on and talking to us about his wonderful business of both informational conferences and travel and other things, basically networking and rubbing elbows with people like us. And I want to thank you so much for being on, Neal. I look forward to talking to you again in the future about some more of the tours. And I want to remind everybody, Freed on Business, we drop a new podcast every Wednesday at lunchtime. We've been on for closing in on 15 years. We've had Warren Henry as a sponsor for over a decade. We want to thank Warren Henry for their great sponsorship and their ability to put together the show on a regular basis. Why do I do this? Because I love it. I love meeting people like Neal and creating relationships with them. Remember, the person wants to do something, finds a way. Oh, I forgot to say one other thing. And I want to thank our sponsors at the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies, too. We'll have them and some of their students on upcoming in the future. Next week, we have the asset protection attorney king out of Chicago, Tom Handler, our regular guest, Tom Handler, on what's going on in the family office asset protection world. And remember, the person wants to do something, finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. We'll see everybody again on a new show next Wednesday at noon. This is Jim Freed for Freed on Business. Mr. Mendoza, the rest is yours.